today we're going to show you how to take care of your seedlings. So we have some here that that are already grown, and we are going to show you how to take care of them. So step one is watering. So you're going to want to be checking your seedlings every day to make sure that the soil stays moist. So it's nice to use a watering can like this one that has kind of a pointed nozzle rather than like the big spray. And then you're going to be trying to water just the soil. And you can see here the soil kind of goes everywhere, and that's why we have our little plate underneath to catch it. So what you're going to be wanting to do, a good way to water them, is to water from the top and then wait a few minutes for the water to kind of drain out, go from the top all the way down through the soil and out the bottom. And then you don't want your seedlings to be sitting in water. So you want them to the soil not to be dry, but not to be too waterlogged either, because that is also pretty damaging for plants. So we're going to wait a few minutes. Let's pretend we waited a few minutes. And then we're going to pour off that kind of excess water. And we're in a greenhouse, so we can just pour it on the ground. And that way they're not sitting in that water. Okay, the next thing you want to think about is air circulation. So I don't really recommend those domes that often come with seedling sets, because you want to be promoting air circulation so that no mold or anything grows in your seedlings. So you can either put a fan on your seedlings, or you can kind of just be brushing your seedlings with your hands. Actually, it's kind of nice. And that is helping to simulate the air and the wind movement that they will be getting outside and helping to get them nice and strong. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to be thinking about is fertilizer. So you're going to want to start fertilizing your seedlings when their first set of true leaves comes out, or soon after. And you'll be doing the fertilizing about once a week. So I like to use a liquid fertilizer. That's probably the best thing to do, but you really want to do it at half strength. So this is a fertilizer that you would mix with your water when you water the plants. And I will look on here. Do you want to figure out how much they say to put in?
Okay, it says here that half teaspoon of seaweed liquid fertilizer in 1 liter of water.
So for seedlings, you would do half of that. So if you can do math, you'll know that it's
quarter per liter of water.
A quarter teaspoon of fertilizer per liter of water. And if you're careful, you could even go a bit lower than that. So really don't want to burn your seedlings with too much fertilizer, because that can kill them. But you also want to give them a little boost. Okay, so now we're going to show you a really important part of growing seedlings, and that is potting up. So these tomato seedlings are getting pretty big for their small pots. You can really tell when your seedlings are ready to go into their bigger pots, when their roots start poking out the bottom of their drainage holes. That's when they're really looking for a little more space. So we're going into slightly bigger pots, and you can pot up. Usually you would just do this once before they end up going outside. But if you've ended up starting your seedlings a little too early, you might need to pot up more than once. Okay, so Rose is going to show us how to pot up the seedlings. So what are you doing first?
I'm putting some soil in the container just to start it, and then
and then she's going to do the really tricky part, which is taking the seedlings out of their container. Wish her luck, everyone.
There's actually a lot of ways how to take out your seedlings from this tiny container, but I'm just gonna do like whatever easier, I think, for me. So sometimes I'll just squeeze the bottom.
Yeah, you can kind of squeeze the bottom and then gently pull, and you just want to be really gentle with the plants, because they have lots of nice little roots that they've built up. This tends to be a bit of a messy project, so sometimes I will do this outside and not in my living room if I don't want to have a ton of cleanup to do. So the other thing Rose is doing, do you want to talk about how you're burying it deep?
I would when I pot up tomatoes, especially, I would like to bury it deep and just go deep as much as you can,
and then we're putting some soil on top. So the reason you can do that with tomatoes specifically is that they can grow, and you can do it with other seedlings as well, but tomatoes are great because they can actually grow roots from anywhere. So burying them nice and deep means that they will have nice strong roots. So we're kind of burying them. You can see they're becoming a little shorter, and that's actually really, really great. You can bury them kind of up to where their first set of leaves are. And then Rose is just adding a little more soil on top to hold them in place. And yeah, that's how it's done. So don't worry too much if your seedlings look a little bit sad once they've been potted up. They've just gone through a big life change, so they might be a little bit droopy or something like that. You want to make sure you give them lots of water. Here we can show with.
Don't forget to water your seedlings.
Yeah. And once again, we're just watering on top of the soil and letting that water kind of drain down, and we'll kind of keep going until it starts. You can see it starting to come out the bottom, the water. So that's how you know you've watered enough. And then after a few minutes, we can pour off whatever's left over. And that is how you pot up your seedlings. To keep up with us, subscribe to our newsletter or
visit our website, thenorthgrove.ca.